This is the new generation Volkswagen Tiguan, and it could be the best mid-sized SUV on the market, provided that you're okay with petrol only, because that's all that's on offer in this lineup. It is a bit limited in that regard, but I'll tell you about it, the best alternatives to it, and much more in this review. So please, if you haven't already, subscribe, it does help a lot, and let's get to it. Now, as I said, every single version of the Tiguan in this generation is petrol powered, turbocharged, and there's a choice of front wheel drive or all wheel drive, but you don't get the option of a hybrid model or a plug-in hybrid or a diesel or even an electric version. But there is the Volkswagen ID.4 electric SUV, which I'll put a link in the description for my review of that one. I think it's a great EV if that's what you're looking for. But let's talk about the different versions available in this Tiguan lineup. Now, there are 3 different petrol powertrains, and they will determine which version is available to you. So the entry-level powertrain is the 110 TSI. I'll tell you all the details about the powertrain shortly, but it comes as the life grade at just under $45,000 before on-road costs, and it still comes very well equipped, including 19-inch alloy wheels. It's got a 12.9-inch touchscreen media system, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There's built-in sat-nav, digital radio. You've also got a 10-inch instrument cluster for the driver, a wireless phone charger. There's an electric boot, which is standard, which is great. A surround view camera is standard too, and that's excellent. You get cloth seat trim. There's also keyless entry, push-button start, LED headlights, and a heap of standard safety technology, as well as that surround view camera system. And then you can also get the 110 TSI in Elegance trim, and that is this one right here. The Elegance grade adds a fair few dollars to the price, but you do get a fair few extra features like leather appointed upholstery. There's also comfort sport seats with power adjustment. There's heated and ventilated and massaging front seats as well. There's also rear privacy glass, LED plus headlights, an illuminated grille strip, and 3D effect LED tail lights too. And this particular version also has a few extra options added, and if you want to, you can option things like the sound and vision package, which gives you a head-up display, and also an 11-speaker Harman Kardon sound system, and there's a panoramic glass roof fitted to this car too, an extra $2,000 for that as well. And above that is the Elegance 150 TSI, so that gets you a bigger engine with more power and more torque and all-wheel drive, and also a few extra features like adaptive dampers, a 15-inch touchscreen media system, there's matrix LED lights and adaptive high beam, and it gets the Harman Kardon sound system and the head-up display as standard. And then there's the sportier versions, the 150 TSI R-Line. Now, it's a little bit cheaper than the Elegance, but it's not necessarily as well equipped, but it does still have all-wheel drive. It's still got plenty of sporty looking elements to the exterior design and the interior too. And I do think that the R-Line could be a great choice for people who are looking for a sporty looking vehicle with a fair few features. And then at the top of the range is the 195 TSI R-Line, which gets the Golf GTI engine, but with all-wheel drive and an SUV package, and it could be a fantastic choice for the enthusiastic driver. It's not necessarily a Tiguan R in terms of the spec, but it is still plenty punchy. I'll tell you all about the powertrain in a sec. But that top spec version also gets you things like 20-inch alloy wheels, as well as the matrix lights and plenty of other features as well. So the top spec version seems to be pretty good, but the price is getting up there. So what else could you consider if you're looking at a Tiguan and maybe you've got a different budget or different requirements? Let's talk about some alternatives. If you are just after as much choice as you can possibly get in your mid-sized SUV, we've got to go and have a look at the likes of the Kia Sportage, which has a petrol engine, a turbo petrol engine, a hybrid with all-wheel drive, and also a diesel with all-wheel drive. So there's heaps of different choices in the Sportage lineup. So if that's what you're after, well, there's a lot of different variants and variations available in that lineup. I've done a review of it, a pretty recent review in fact, and I thought it was pretty good in most ways, but there are some annoying safety features. And same with the Hyundai Tucson. It's got heaps and heaps of different variants available, but just like the Sportage, it has some annoying safety features which this Volkswagen Tiguan doesn't have. And and I really do like the Tiguan straight off the bat for that reason. But if you're thinking about some other alternatives when it comes to powertrain options, well, the RAV4 is still one of the best you can get. It's a hybrid only range in Australia right now for the existing RAV4. The new generation version is coming soon, and it will have plug-in hybrid as well as regular petrol electric hybrid models. And it seems to be that the RAV4 still is doing really well. It's a brilliant car with brilliant powertrain tech. It's super duper efficient and practical and comfortable and nice to live with. But if you're also considering something that might feel a bit more special on the inside, I reckon a Honda CR-V could be the right SUV for you, because there's a bunch of different versions available. You can get it with 5 or 7 seats, front wheel drive or all-wheel drive. There's a hybrid high-spec version, and it is a very lovely mid-sized SUV, that CR-V. It's probably the one I would gravitate towards if I wasn't buying a Tiguan, because I do really like this Tiguan. But let's keep going with the review, and I'll tell you why I like this one so much. It's quite a different looking car to the existing Tiguan, and in fact it hasn't changed all that much in terms of the dimensions, which I'll put on your screen now, but it is still relatively small for a mid-sized SUV, just over 4.5 meters long on a nice stretchy wheelbase of 2680 millimeters, and it's not too wide and it's not too tall, and that could be all you need to know. It's about the right size for a mid-sized SUV if you don't want one that's going to be cumbersome to park. Now, this elegance version has the lovely LED light strip at the back, and it's also got a pretty big boot. Let's have a look at the boot space and see what we are working with. As I said, all versions come with an electric tailgate, and you can see right there, they all come with a bloody big boot as well. The cargo capacity is on your screen, and it's got some pretty clever elements to this boot area too. So you've got a 12-volt port there, you've got these pop-out hooks for your shopping bags, you've also got little storage sections on the sides of the cargo area as well. There's another little cargo caddy up there, and you can remotely release those back seats if you want to. It is a 40-20-40 split fold seat as well. And that means if you've got skis, you can fold down that middle section and load them through. And under the boot floor, there is also a space saver spare wheel. It's a good thing to have a spare wheel, in my opinion. Some of them don't come with spares anymore, and they've managed to package one in to this new generation Tiguan, and I'm grateful for that, and I think there will be plenty of Aussie buyers who are too. Now, let's check out the interior and see what it's like. So let's talk about the interior of this new Tiguan, and I have to say it is a massive step up compared to the previous one. It's much more modern and high tech, and some people might appreciate that. Others might find it maybe a bit too blingy, especially when you look at the size of this thingy. It's bloody massive. I remember when we had a computer monitor that small at my house, but yeah. This is a very, very decent piece of technology compared to what came before, which was still decent, but this is really bloody good. And I like the fact that you do have nice usable menus up here. So if you want to go into your drive modes, there's a favorite button up there. If you want to turn off some safety stuff, there's a favorite button there. If you want to initiate your auto parking, you can do it there. Car settings, there. And then over here, you can go into your other menu settings. So this is something that you will get used to pretty quickly, I would say, even though there are some things that might take a little bit more getting used to. So you do still have controls for your climate stuff down on the bottom bar there. And yes, you can adjust your massage functions and your heating and cooling and so forth on the seats using these seat control buttons down here. And then you've also got a volume dial down there too. So it's not a dial, it's a bar, you slide. Same with the climate, you can adjust it like so. And look, I think that it will take a little bit of getting used to in terms of the controls if you aren't used to doing on-screen controls. Again, lots of stuff on screen. You can do it smartly if you want to. If you just want warm my hands or rapid cooling, whatever it may be, you can do that, and you can even ask the car to do it for you using voice control if you wish. But I do think that this screen is a big step up from the existing model, and it is a nice bit of technology. For what I can see, it seems to do a pretty good job of allowing you to make the most of the screen tech. There's a drop-down menu as well if you want to configure that with some little quick adjustments, so that's good to see. And then you've also got this digital instrument display in front of the driver, which has some configurability to it as well. You can adjust the view and change some info on the screen there if you want to, so you can make it look how you'd prefer it to look. It's maybe not as deep as some other screens, but I'm okay with that because it's still very, very easy to look at. Your steering wheel controls, hallelujah, they are not shiny and they are not haptic. Love that. You do still have a steering wheel heating button on this side here though, and your volume controls and cruise stuff is on that side. You've got a multi-faceted stalk here with your wipers and blinkers and your rear wipers as well. And then on this side, you've got your gear selector, and that's a bit strange, but there's also paddle shifters, as you can see. But what I want to show you is this other little dial down here. Now your start engine button is there, your park brake button is there, and then you've got your gear selector up there. And the number of times already that I've gone to twist this to change gears, well, that's not what this is for. This is a volume controller if you want it to be, or it can be a drive mode controller. So you can adjust what is happening with the car using that controller down there. It's configurable as well, so that's pretty neat. And I also really like the usability of the space here. So you've got this little shelf which you can flip up out of the way. You've got wireless phone charging docks in this grade, and also you've got a lovely little pair of USB-C ports there. Some nice cup holders between the seats. If you don't want them, you can pull them out and you can have extra storage space. There's a covered center console bin with a 12-volt port, an adjustable holder there as well. And there's a decent sized glove box there. There's this illuminated finish on the dashboard, which I'm not too hot on. I think it looks a bit too chintzy for my liking, but it is kind of interesting at least. And down in those door pockets, you'll see they are lined and they are large. And these seats are bloody excellent, let me tell you. There's so much adjustment to these seats. They are super duper comfortable, and I really do think that the trim and the material finishes is excellent in this car. Now, let's have a look up here. You've also got an auto dimming rear vision mirror there. You've got lights as well, which is great. One thing that this car doesn't have is connected services. Lots of other cars in the class now have a little SOS call button up there. If you're in an accident, it'll call emergency services for you. This car doesn't have that. Not yet anyway. And up here, you've also got illuminated vanity mirrors. There are grab handles for even the driver and all the passengers. And then this one also has the big glass roof as well. If you want that, that's great. It's got a nice shade on it. It's not the thickest shade, but it's not the hottest day, so I can't tell you what it's like in terms of heat shielding. But I can tell you, I really, really like this interior. It's pretty easy to get used to, and it is a bit more high tech than the previous one. But let's check out the back seat space and see if it's roomy enough. All right, this seat is set for my driving position. I'm 6 foot tall, 182 centimeters, and I've got a decent amount of knee room there, a good amount of foot wiggle room. In fact, I could have a bloody stomping dance competition down there if I wanted to. And here you've got multi-pocket pockets on the seat backs, which is excellent too. Now, in terms of head space, yep, it's pretty good, I have to say. Someone my size could fit back here pretty comfortably, and there is plenty of good amenities in the back here too. So you've got overhead grab handles, you've got lights up here as well, and of course you've got the big sunroof if you want that, and you've also got big lined door pockets down there. Nice soft elbow pads here. In fact, the materials are all very soft and lovely. One thing that isn't lovely is this massive transmission tunnel intrusion. That might be an issue for some people, especially those planning to use this 5-seater as a permanent 5-seater. But there are USB-C ports there. You've got a climate control system in the back here as well, and there are directional air vents too. Now, of course, you've got ISOFIX points and 3 top tethers as well. There's a flip down armrest with some pop out cup holders, which is pretty bloody nifty, I have to say. And as I said, you can fold that seat down, so you've got a ski port if you need it. And these seats also recline, so you do have a little bit of tiltability in terms of the adjustability of the space. But I reckon it's pretty bloody excellent for a mid-sized SUV that isn't as big as some of the others out there. It offers a bit more space than some of them. Under the bonnet of the Tiguan, there are 3 different petrol powertrain options. The entry-level one is a 110 TSI with 110 kilowatts, 250 Newton meters. It comes as standard with a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. It is front-wheel drive only, and it has a slightly lower towing capacity than the other versions. 750 kilos, unbraked and 1800 kilos braked. Then there's the all-wheel drive versions. Now there's the 150 TSI, which has 150 kilowatts and 320 Newton meters. It comes as standard with a 7-speed dual clutch and all-wheel drive. It can do 0 to 100 in 7.1 seconds, and it does towing of 750 kilos unbraked and 2300 kilos braked. And then there's the top spec 195 TSI R-Line, which has 195 kilowatts, 400 Newton meters, all-wheel drive and a 7-speed dual clutch. 0 to 100 for it is 5.9 seconds, and it can do the same towing as the mid-spec model, 750 and 2300 braked, which is pretty good for a mid-sized SUV, in fact. You know what I love? I love being able to get into a brand new car and not have to muck around turning off safety systems. And that's exactly the situation that I find myself in this new generation Volkswagen Tiguan, because they've actually finished the bloody job, people. They've done a good job of implementing highly sophisticated, advanced safety technology that doesn't give you the shits. And let me tell you, some of the other vehicles in this class are frustrating as F for you to live with. And when you get back into them every single time and have to turn off things that you don't like every single time, well, you'll find that it gets pretty old pretty fast. But with this car, you don't necessarily have to turn things off. Sure, there is a lane keeping system, which you might find to be a little pushy, especially at highway speeds. That's the case for me. I turned it off on the highway before, but I do think that generally the product here is very, very well done. And well, there's the lane keeping assist as one part of it, but there's also a speed sign recognition system, and it doesn't beep and incessantly bong at you. And then there's also the driver monitoring system, which will just tell you if you're being a bit too focused on the screen there. So I love that about this car, and it just makes it so much easier to live with because you don't have to hate the car every time you get back in to drive it. The systems just work. It's just bloody excellent. And the drivability of it is bloody excellent too. It's got a lovely manner to the way it drives. It's got nice, direct and accurate feeling steering. In the high grade versions, there's also progressive steering, so that makes it feel even more nimble and agile. And those higher grade versions come with bigger wheels and more low profile tires and sportiness to them as well, especially the ones with the 15-stage adaptive dampers. That will be a bit of a game changer in terms of the comfort, but honestly, I think that the general compliance and comfort here is not too bad. Now, I will say this, when you hit a sharp edge, you can really feel it, and that might be a problem for some. If you live somewhere where there are lots of sharp edges on the road, you might find it to be a little bit frustrating. Like, I'll go over this one here, which I know is a bit of a clunker. Here we go. Yeah, so you certainly feel that in the body of the vehicle. It's not too bad, it's just maybe a little bit of a telltale thing with Volkswagens. They do have that sort of sharpness over sharp edges, but I really think that you'll find this car to be pretty lovely no matter which version you pick. Now, this one isn't the most powerful one, but it still has plenty of power when you put your foot down, and it's not the most lovable engine, this entry-level engine, but I still think that it is bloody excellent for the kind of car that this is. And then the higher grade versions with all-wheel drive, they're even better. So if you can spend the extra money and get the one with all-wheel drive, you will have less of a concern when it comes to maybe taking away from a standstill in wet weather situations. You might get a little bit of tire squeal in one of the front-wheel drive ones, but I honestly think it's still a pretty enjoyable thing no matter which powertrain you pick, because it's a really, really nicely finished and well, finished is the nice way to put it. This feels like a car that's been properly done, and I really like it for that. So let's talk about fuel consumption and see if there's anything we need to be wary of. All right, let's talk about fuel consumption. Well, the 110 TSI petrol front-wheel drive and the 150 TSI petrol all-wheel drive have the same official combined cycle figure. You'll see it on your screen now, And then there's the 195 TSI R-Line. It's the most performance-focused one, so of course it has the highest official combined cycle fuel consumption figure, and it's on your screen now. And look, I think if you go for the top spec one, you're gonna have to be willing to put up with a little bit of higher fuel consumption because it is a bit more of a go-go machine. But if you're wondering what I've seen in this version, you'll see it on screen now, and I do think that that is a reasonable number. Certainly not hybrid-like, but good enough for the mix of driving that I've done, which has included highway, freeway, urban and stop-start commuting and that sort of thing, as well as the daily daycare drop-off. So look, I think that you will be okay with this car in terms of the fuel consumption factor, but just keep in mind, it does require 95 RON premium unleaded no matter which version you pick. There's a little bit of difference in terms of the fuel tank capacity as well. The 110 TSI has a slightly smaller tank. So I think that for most people, it's going to do most of the job, mostly very well in terms of the fuel consumption. The Volkswagen Tiguan has achieved the maximum 5-star ANCAP safety rating against 2024 criteria, so it has heaps and heaps of standard spec and tech, and I am really grateful for the fact that none of it really gives you the shits in this car. It's so good compared to some of the others out there which feel like there's still unfinished projects from a science lab. This car feels like a car, and hooray for that. There's things like autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist and junction detection. There's also lane keeping assistance and adaptive cruise control. You're getting a surround view camera as standard, parking sensors all around the car as standard. You've got blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert, and you've also got the tech that you might expect will get on your nerves. There's speed sign recognition. Thankfully it doesn't bing and bong, and it doesn't get it all that wrong either. And then there's also a driver monitoring system, but it will only intervene if it thinks that you're playing with the touchscreen too much. And I actually think that that is the best application of this tech that I've seen, rather than just inanely binging and bonging at you for no apparent reason. This car has some smarts to it, and that's one of the things that make it stand out compared to some of the rivals out there. It really does feel very, very good from the safety perspective. And when it comes to the airbags, it's a good story there too. So you've got dual front side, a front center airbag. There's also rear side airbags too, and curtain airbags for all the window seat occupants as well. So yep, the safety thing, it bloody nails it. Volkswagen Australia offers a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty for its model range, and this car has also a 5-year roadside assistance program, provided that you service with Volkswagen's network of dealerships. Otherwise, it's just the first year included at no cost. And keep this in mind, if you are considering buying this car, you can buy a prepaid servicing plan, and it will roll out for 5 years and 75,000 kilometres. So yes, your intervals are every 12 months and 15,000 Ks for this vehicle, which is good. But you need to keep in mind that the services are a little pricey, even for those service packs, which you'll see the pricing for the 110 TSI, the 150 TSI, and the 195. Well, they are a little bit high, considering that that's including the first service at no cost. So if you are planning to buy one of these, it might be worth considering getting one of those prepaid plans, because you will save a bit of money, even though it is a bit pricey to maintain compared to some of the rivals out there. This feels like a finished product. Some of the other mid-sized SUVs in this segment don't, and this feels really well made and really nice to drive and pretty bloody nice to live with as well, because it doesn't have any of those super annoying safety bing-bongs, and that makes it a real charmer. So if you are looking for a mid-sized SUV, I reckon you should definitely have a look at the Tiguan, so long as you can deal with the fact that it doesn't have a whole range of different powertrain options. But what do you think? Have your say in the comments section. Is petrol good enough for you for a car like this? I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you when I see you.